welcome back to the channel. I hope you've all been keeping really well. Today I am pre-filming a video that I'll be putting up at some time in the future. If you are watching this video, then I assume that I've already put up like some sort of announcement video or post. You will be aware that I am pregnant. That still feels really weird to say. So I wanted to, oh, hello Billy. Hi chick. Billy is going to join us for the intro to this video. But yes, in this video, I wanted to take you guys through a little what I eat in a day, or like what I ate today. I am in my 9th week, which I think just ticked over today. So technically 9 weeks at this point in time. So I was like, I don't know if there's a particularly good week during the first trimester to film this video, but I might as well film it now. Just a few things that I wanted to mention before I dive into this video. So kind of like why I wanted to do this little intro. I just wanted to mention and kind of acknowledge that during my first trimester, at least up until this point, touch wood, I haven't really experienced any super intense symptoms like nausea and vomiting. I have had like some food aversions and just general aversion to food, which I'll discuss like a little bit later in the video probably. But in terms of like my overall first trimester, it hasn't been particularly difficult. At this point in time, we're 9 weeks, so there's a few weeks where things could turn around if they wanted to. We'll see what happens. But up to this point, have been feeling relatively good. Very slight nausea here and there, but overall have been fairly good. I am aware that for a lot of women, the first trimester can be extremely difficult. And not even just the first trimester, for a lot of women, they can experience nausea the entire way through, which can obviously make it really difficult when it comes to food. The other thing is that a lot of foods that are kind of like the healthiest foods can be the most difficult foods to stomach, particularly in that first trimester. So if you are somebody who is watching this video and you are pregnant and you are maybe in your first trimester, thinking like, oh my god, like I could never eat this or that, that is completely okay, and everyone has a very unique experience of pregnancy. Just kind of put it out there that I have been very fortunate and very lucky to not experience like very severe nausea or morning sickness. So take that into account as well. And if you happen to be new here, my name is Amy. Here on this channel we talk about all things health, wellness, beauty. We do some vlogs as well. And if you're not subscribed already to this channel, be sure to subscribe. Thumbs up this video if you want to see more maybe pregnancy related videos, and follow us on Instagram if you're not already. Other than that, I think I am just about ready to dive into the video. Let's go, finally. Okay, good morning guys. Starting this little what I eat in a day. It is about 6:30 in the morning. Nick has already made a little bit of a start with breakfast, so we're having some boiled eggs. So we're doing 2 boiled eggs, and I'm going to make like a little smoothie as well, because obviously like 2 eggs is not enough in the morning. I sound a bit gross and probably look a little bit gross because I have a bit of like a head cold going on at the moment. Not COVID, and it's not too intense, but I kind of feel like I woke up today sounding a little bit more nasally. But yeah, I'm gonna make a smoothie. First things first, going to add like a heap of frozen blueberries, coconut milk, some chia seed. I'm also going to add in a few tablespoons of full fat yogurt. So I've been trying to bump up the amount of calcium that I eat, so getting in like a good serve of like good quality dairy in the morning does help. So I'm going to do like a decent whack of yogurt. And also adds like a whole bunch of fat to your smoothie, so it leaves you feeling fuller for longer. Also gonna pop in 2 Brazil nuts. So you only need 2 Brazil nuts a day to hit your selenium RDI. So an easy way is to just throw it into a smoothie. And then last but not least, I am going to add in a scoop of protein powder. This is the one that I like. I've showed you guys before. I am also going to be having eggs with breakfast, so there is going to be protein in the eggs, but I feel like having a bit more protein doesn't hurt, because 2 eggs really isn't enough anyway. And that is pretty much it for the morning smoothie. It does vary day to day. That will do us for this morning. So it's a little bit dark in this area in the mornings. So I've got my smoothie, obviously. I have our eggs. There's 4 eggs there because Nick is going to have 2. So I'm gonna have 2 eggs. I have been trying to have 2 eggs every single day just because eggs are a really good source of choline. I'll have a little bit more of an in-depth chat about all this in a little bit. And then in terms of supplements, I have my prenatal, DHA, and a probiotic. So I am just finishing my smoothie. So I figured I'd like discuss a little bit more about what's been going on with the breakfast situation, you know, because I know that you're all wondering. To be honest, I think it's like typically better to have a full like cooked breakfast in terms of like satiety, energy levels throughout the morning, because I feel like a smoothie, like even though I like to pack it with protein and fat, I just feel like a smoothie doesn't tend to take you as far as like a full meal that's not blended, simply because the volume of eating normal food is just greater than when you blend it down into a smoothie. And also I find that animal protein just tends to be more satiating compared to like protein powders and whatnot. But with that said, I know that the first trimester can be really difficult for a lot of people, so very grateful to have avoided the nausea so far, at least. One thing that I have had a lot of is like food aversions. So for example, I did a video not that long ago that was like some breakfast recipes, and like egg muffins, like if I even think about egg muffins, absolutely not, absolutely not. And the one thing that I really can't stand is the thought of gravy, like even saying the word or thinking about it for too long. So in that regard, I've just found it harder to eat like a cooked breakfast. Like we were doing kind of like an avocado paleo toast egg thing for a while, and I just got to a point where I was like, I can't do that anymore. Like the savory breakfast was just not appealing anymore, so moved on to like a smoothie breakfast, because I don't know if I'd say that I'm particularly like craving anything, but I don't have food aversion towards cold things. Like I think I generally am gravitating towards cold things like icy water, frozen fruit. So the smoothie I feel very neutral about. I wouldn't say that I'm like craving smoothies, but I just don't have any kind of aversion towards drinking a smoothie. So the smoothie has been an easy workaround in the morning, but I do still try to get 2 eggs in every single day, and the easiest time to do that is at breakfast. Surprisingly, I don't really have a problem with eating boiled eggs. I would have thought that was the reason why the egg muffins were like no-go. I thought, you know, generally people get kind of sick of eggs, but boiled eggs have been fine. So I'm trying to get into every single day just because eggs are a really good source of choline. So they're one of the highest sources of choline outside of things like liver, which is a nutrient that isn't talked a lot about, but it's extremely important in pregnancy. So I think 1 egg is about 150 milligrams of choline, which is really high compared to other foods. So I'm really making an effort to incorporate eggs every single day. The other thing to know is that the choline is concentrated in the egg yolk. So the yolk is going to be more important than the white. So if you are really struggling with eggs, if you can manage to eat an egg yolk, that would even be worthwhile. So you could like even put that into a smoothie, because I know even for myself, like weeks ago, I think I did have like a little bit of a thing with the eggs. I was like, I can't really do this morning. So I just like forced myself to eat the egg yolk, leave everything else behind. But yeah, you could like find a few other workarounds as well. You could put egg yolk into a smoothie because that's gonna like fully disguise it when you have lots of other stuff in there. And yeah, the other thing that I have been doing is just adding in more dairy, or just like being more intentional about eating dairy kind of on a more consistent basis, and that's mainly to hit calcium targets. So because in pregnancy, like obviously you're like a little bit more limited when it comes to like fish and seafood, so you might not be eating like as much seafood as you normally would. So for me, like a major source of calcium if you don't eat a lot of dairy is eating bony fish, so like bone-in salmon, which I haven't been doing a lot of for multiple reasons. That I just don't know if I would be like up for stomaching a can of stinky fish at the moment. Like the fish that I am having is usually in the form of like a fillet of fish, like a very easy to eat piece of grilled fish, rather than like a stinky can of bone-in salmon, which would be like ideal. But yeah, I'll probably start incorporating that in future, but at the moment, yeah, I haven't really super gone there. So because I know that without bony fish I'm not going to get enough calcium every day, I'm just being more intentional with including dairy. So I can chat a little bit about that more as the day goes on. one because I know that I've already waffled a lot at the moment, but I just thought that all these little things are kind of like interesting little tidbits and tips for people, just of like a few different nutrients to look out for and to kind of prioritize where you can if you can. But yeah, going to finish this last bit of smoothie, get myself like a little slightly bit more presentable, and then take Billy out for a walk this morning. Okay, so it is around 11. I'm gonna have a snack, even though it's kind of close to lunch, but I do feel snacky. So I've just got a little bowl of yogurt, same one that I had with breakfast, and I'm gonna have a banana that is like on the verge of going overripe. So yeah, just a little snack, and then I'll have lunch in probably like not that long really. All right, so I am going to make a start on some lunch. We have been doing kind of the same thing on repeat every day. Like when you find something that works, you just kind of stick with it. I've been really back into kind of like the burrito bowl salad style lunch, and I think that's really been working for me at the moment, because right now I'm just gravitating more so towards like cold, crunchy, crisp sort of meals. So I use cos lettuce for this little salad, which kind of like fits the bill. Like it's crispy, it's crunchy, plus it's just overall like a really fresh salad with like coriander. You could add in some lime and like citrus. I feel like a lot of people do end up craving like more citrus, oranges, lemons, limes, things like that. So that is the kind of like salad that I'm going to be making today, and that I'll be making like all week. So essentially for this salad, the base is going to be some cos lettuce. I've been using some black beans, which you can swap for sweet potato as well. Like I did sweet potato the other day, and it was probably actually even like a little bit better than beans, but I'm just a little bit lazy at the moment to cook up a potato. And then I'm going to be making a little salsa with some tomato, red onion, coriander, a little bit of guac. Can't like make a burrito bowl salad without guacamole. Let's do it. On and on, we gotta keep it up. We gotta keep it up. Baby, take it south. You got your whole life. Put faith in the sky. Okay, so I also have half a can of black beans. The other half I just used the other day, but I've just obviously drained these, given them a really good rinse. And I think I'm actually going to heat them up a little bit on the stovetop. Also have some chicken that we barbecued a little bit earlier in the week and set aside for lunches. So I'm going to cook up a little bit of that as well. And there we have it. And that is lunch all done and ready to eat. You can also swap out the guac, or you don't even have to swap. You could also put in some sour cream. Also goes really nice in this sort of bowl. Or cheese, like you can grate up some cheese into there as well. But yeah, that is my lunch today, and has been my lunch for many days. I am going to eat. It is quite a bit later. It is probably like 6:15 at the moment. There has been a change of plans. So for dinner tonight, I was thinking of doing some sort of mix of like beef, maybe like steak for dinner with like veggies, like roast veggies. That was the original plan, but Nick is home late today, so he's decided that he is going to bring home some takeaway for dinner from one of our favorite spots. So I'll show you what we get when he's home. But other things that I didn't film today because they've been really bad. So other things that I ate throughout the afternoon, I had some dark chocolate. I also had like 1/3 of a cup of orange juice, because that's kind of been a random thing. Like I really just like cold drinks at the moment. So things like orange juice with like sparkling water, so like soda water, orange juice mixed together with ice, like it needs ice as well. I don't know, I'm just like into cold stuff right now. And while I'm waiting, because I'm kind of hungry, I'm just eating some grapes. So they're really good, they're like nice and cold as well. But yeah, we'll show you what we get for takeaway dinner when Nick's home. I'm pretty much just getting ready for dinner, so I'm gonna pour us some kombucha. Tonight we have the Remedy kombucha wild berry. And the other thing that I thought I'd mention really quickly, just because kind of relevant when it comes to like takeaways and eating out and stuff like that. This year kind of in general, like with the focus on like prenatal health and now being pregnant, we've been trying to really cut down the amount of takeaway that we get per week. So we usually have some form of takeaway probably once a week. And then when it comes to takeaway, just being like a little bit more conscious around what we're ordering. So specifically things that I guess I would say that I'm like avoiding as much as I can. It's like things like your fried foods, like chips, things of that nature, which I would love to eat. Like, sounds so delicious even thinking about it. But the main thing that I'm really looking to avoid is all of those omega-6 oils, just because we know that omega-6, especially in excess, can be quite pro-inflammatory. I'm just really trying to keep like my omega-3/6 ratio like as good as I possibly can. So avoiding excess omega-6, which mostly comes from eating out, because if you've got most of the things in your house, like the cooking oils that you're using, if they're all good and above board, the major source of omega-6 tends to come from eating out takeaways, because that's where they're using like cottonseed oil, canola oil, sunflower seed oil, just things that I would never choose to use at home. And then specifically again with like fried foods that are really oily, we know that those oils are quite unstable. So when you're frying at high temperatures, that's it. It's not about being like 100% perfect with all of this stuff, but where I can, I'm like trying to avoid doing that. And that's something that I was thinking about, like as I said, like prenatally as well, like even before getting pregnant, just trying to be better with like takeaway, because you know I love a grilled sweet potato chip. But yeah, and he's home. Ignore how messy it is in here. I feel like I never show this angle because this mess is not tolerable. He's brought the goods. We have our favorite takeaway, Cheeky Pokey. We never get Cheeky Pokey because Uber doesn't deliver out here. In terms of what we have ordered, we have two of the same, don't we?
Yep.
So we got the broth bowl. We have chicken, like some shredded chicken, noodles, whatnot, and then they have the separate bone broth. So I feel like they do like really like clean meals there. So I always feel really good about eating from Cheeky. But I'm going to dump this into my bowl and make it look legit. So the rice noodles have kind of all stuck together, but that's okay. Got lots of bok choy, lots of bean sprouts, broth. It's looking good. And Nick has the same. Oh, and we have our kombuchas as well. Gonna eat. Okay, and last but not least, we are gonna have some panna double chocolate ice cream. I feel like I haven't had this in like a little while. Going to get some of that.